You're about to listen to the interview I did with my old friend and former bandmate Johnny Marr. We had a chance to talk about the old times as well as his debut solo album, The Messenger. Be sure to listen live to my radio show, Jetlag, every Monday from 2 till 4 Eastern Time on eastvillageradio.com or on the free EVR mobile app for iPhone and Android. Wow, that brought back a few memories, Johnny.
It's quite authentic, this, isn't it, really? This is exactly what our conversations used to be like.
Yeah.
I think they were, like, less lively. We're more entertaining now.
Let's talk about some gigs that we used to go to.
Do you remember the plainclothes coppers who used to follow us around? That couple,
They would
determined
pursue
to get us, right? They were determined to get me and Andy, right? So I remember
try and find us in trouble.
A man and a woman. I remember when we went to see The Cure, they were dressed up as Gary Newman, the pair of them. And then when we went to see the Banshees, they were dressed up as The Cure.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We used to really love giving them a run around. Yeah.
But they never had anything on us.
No.
They tried.
Yeah,
And they failed.
No, we had the measure of them. So that was one of the things I remember at the gigs we went to.
Well, you went to see Rory Gallagher.
That was one of the early gigs we went to, wasn't it? Yeah, at the Free Trade Hall
as well.
Saw them. Yeah. We used to know this taxi driver who used to let us. He used to just ferry his scouse.
Dan, my dog, used to follow Johnny home when Johnny was walking home, and so Johnny would put him in a taxi, and the taxi would arrive at my house, and my dad would look out the window. Who's that in the taxi? And it was the dog. And my dad was all confused. How did the dog arrive home in the taxi?
It's a black cab as well, isn't it? Yeah. That was kind of like we did that. I forgot about that. Yeah. Do you remember seeing Iggy Pop?
I'm not sure.
It wasn't amazing, that gig, but we went. It was a Saturday night. He was promoting. It might have been The New Values, which is a really brilliant album.
I don't know if you remember this. The first bass that I owned was one that you gave me.
Yeah, I was loaned a bass.
Yeah, you were loaned a bass, yes,
by somebody, but it was
happened to be a fretless.
It happened to be a fretless, and so that's what we were stuck with. So you learned to play fretless, didn't you?
Yeah.
It takes some doing, really. Around about that same time, our mate Billy Duffy, who was a founder member of the Cult, he was a few years older than us. And he was a bit of a trailblazer, Billy, because he left home and moved out to London, and he'd got himself in like a band with a record deal. He got himself in Theatre of Hate, who played some shows that we went to see because Billy was in there. So that was a good time. I remember that. That was about 1980.
Yeah, you and Billy lived maybe 100 metres away from each other.
Yeah, we did, yeah. We lived really close, and we used to hang out around the shops at night, whatever the weather was, because we didn't really have anywhere to go. So like a bunch of kids congregating outside the shops, literally just stood around on the street. And then
usually the off-license.
Around the, we used to wear these duffel coats, didn't we? So we could like just walk in there and put our sleeves over these big bottles of cider, right?
We steal some cider.
Yeah, remember that? It is kind of a, the first bit of sentimentality, or to get kind of reflective here for a second, though. But we're talking about three young guys who lived on, were on this like little council estate in Manchester somewhere, and in a neighbourhood about literally 3 miles away, 2 miles away, other guys, same age as us, in fact a little bit older, were Ian Brown and John Squire, and they were getting, like us two, they were sort of getting their thing together. So we're talking like within like a sort of 4 or 5 square miles of this little kind of council housing.
It's quite prolific, really, when you think about it.
A bunch of musicians, yeah, went on to be professional, and it's kind of pretty uncanny, really. It's a weird thing, but the environment that we were in at this time when we were hanging out was super creative. It was like pretty streetwise, but the thing about all these guys that we hung out with, everybody took themselves pretty seriously, didn't they?
There was nothing else to do, really, was there? There was no work to be had, so we just used to sit around playing our guitars and dream of being famous musicians one day. People were determined.
We were, and desperate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Really desperate.